And Joe Biden completely deflecting blame for his party's poor performance in this week's elections.
I'm not sure that I would be able to have changed the number of very conservative folks who turned out who were Trump voters. People are upset and uncertain about a lot of things, from COVID to school to jobs, cost of a gallon of gasoline.
Jimmy Fallon, host of Fox Across America on Fox News Radio and Fox Nation, is here to discuss. So the president was right about one thing, that people are upset about a whole lot of things.
Well, that was my favorite thing in the world about that moment yesterday, is that this was clearly a repudiation of everything the Democratic Party has done. But think of this like a restaurant. The voters were like, this food sucks. And the Democrats were like, I've got it. Bigger portions. I'm like, are you stupid, Joe Biden? He really shouldn't have been anywhere near.
Build Back Better agenda.
I mean, but this was a rejection. If you look at
So the easiest way to debunk mainstream criticism against progressive policies is the simple fact that every time you poll progressive policies, the nation is overwhelmingly on board. And when progressive policies are implemented, such as universal basic income in certain cities here and there, overwhelmingly they do wonderful and poll wonderful. So obviously we know what the truth is. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jackson White, co-founder and chief of content at Politiscope, and thank you for once again tuning in to the Young Turks. Now, it's very true that the Democrats are out of touch with what the public wants, but we know that it's nonsense from, networks like Fox News and MSNBC and, other networks that are supposed to be more on the side of the general public when they say that, the progressive agenda, the wokeness, that's really what's just messing everybody up. As if people don't want access to affordable health care, as if, cheaper prescription medication doesn't overwhelmingly poll popular across the board, as if people don't want better access to education, as if people don't want access to higher quality water, as if people don't want to improve our infrastructure. Because as we see every single year, the entire country, the world, but this country especially, suffers simply because our infrastructure isn't, upgraded enough to deal with climate change as the weather worsens and worsens and worsens every year. As hurricane season rolls around, as flooding happens. We just saw this, and we see this every single year as wildfires get worse. The infrastructure bill got talked down from $6 trillion all the way down to less than $2 trillion. And this simply just does not meet the needs of the people. Nobody cares about spending if their house is on fire or underwater. People just want solutions. So however it's going to get paid for, obviously raising taxes on corporations and the super ultra wealthy, there's really no other effective way to do it or to, really get people to go on board with it. Now, obviously there's actions that can be taken in the private sector. However, when we have access to these people who have looted the nation, we just need to take that money and those resources back. So we know it's absolute nonsense that people just aren't on board with the progressive agenda, because we all suffer under the same circumstances. For the most part, unless we're super wealthy, unless we were born into that, then pretty much all of us understand everyday struggles, like not having enough money to make ends meet, not knowing how we're going to make things work out. We're all in the same boat. So we got to stay active, and we got to push the Biden administration to do as much as they can while we can, because we already know that a big storm's ahead.